Hey guys, Sean here with the Steam Moto. Giving you a little update on where we're at with the bike build. I've been working on getting the frame and the motor and the battery and everything installed, which I've already done that. And I've actually got the bike to a rideable state. Now, where I'm at right now is working on trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the gas tank. So this was a CRF450 RX, so it came with the larger gas tank for wood riding. And my goal here is to try to keep this as stock looking as possible. So I want to use the stock tank, but I don't want to, to install it, I'm going to have to remove parts of the tank to get it to fit down in here. So I want to be able to use some of the stock mounting, which this is the bolt that mounts to the head tube here. And then we also have the screws on the side, which hold the shrouds on the top. And then we also have these screws in the back, which hold the fairings back here. Now your seat would be coming up here, and the seat used to rest on the gas tank a little bit. Right now, I don't have that. So I need to add something back to make that work. And originally I was thinking about going with sheet metal. I thought about doing some 3D printing, but overall, I decided it's just gonna be easier to go with the stock gas tank and cut it up a little bit and make it work. Now the battery sits so high up in the frame, this will no longer be able to be on here. We're gonna have to cut this off. It looks like I can leave the side mount pieces, this piece, and probably this bracket here. But after that, I'm gonna have to cut from here down and here all the way back. And maybe even some of this back here. I might have to cut it around this area here and lose all that off the bottom, because the battery is very close to the top. So we're gonna try to give that a try. I'm gonna try to cut it with a few different things. I'm probably gonna use a hacksaw, maybe the grinder with a cutting wheel, or even a Dremel if I have to. So we're gonna give it a try and see what happens. So I decided to start with kind of get an idea of where I wanted to cut, and I went ahead and marked it all out. And I tried cutting it with the Dremel to start off, but the Dremel, it was just extremely messy. It was creating like a fine powdery plastic in the air, so I decided I didn't want to make a mess everywhere and breathe all that. So I got the hacksaw out, and it actually was cutting fairly well, but then I was like, you know what, we gotta quit screwing around with this. So I ended up going and getting an oscillating saw. You can see I screwed around with the hacksaw for a while, but got the oscillating saw out, and it was like cutting butter with a hot knife. You could cut it exactly where you wanted, make your line straight, made it look really good. So if you're ever doing this, I highly recommend that. Put a wood blade on it, and it'll chew through that plastic, no problem at all. So once I got it apart here, I ended up doing some test measurements and had to come back and keep recutting. So I ended up cutting a few different times, but ended up dropping it in the floor, and then came back and decided to go ahead and take it apart and take the shrouds off and start doing some actual fitments. Unfortunately, I broke the shrouds, which you'll hear right here. So that was a big bummer, because that took quite a while to 3D print those spacers for where the radiators used to be, but that's okay. They're 3D printed. We'll just make some more. All right, so here's the tank, and we're pretty close here, so I feel pretty good about where it sits. So let me take this out here. A lot of traffic driving by today. This will fit here, your wires will fit down like yay, and then the shrouds will fit up exactly where they're supposed to. And the best part is the seat will still hook on. Got the bolts in here. The seat will still hook on here and here as it's supposed to. So I don't have the bolts in here, or I do have the bolts in here. That's why it's puffing out. But yeah, so that's gonna look pretty much like you're not gonna be able to see that it was hacked up until you take it apart. Now the trick I want to do now is add a electrical switch up here and maybe a charging port right here, so I don't have to take all this apart to disconnect the battery or charge it. I just want to be able to go right in here. So I'm thinking I might take this out and put some type of a switch in there, and should be ready to roll. So looking good. I'll keep you posted on that.